Hello, welcome to video 3 of 7 in the series of tutorials connected with stage 5 of company creation project. This particular video is designed to assist you with part 2 of the stage, the one that is labeled as expenses on your assignment sheet and is connected with the second tab in your Excel file. The purpose of this stage is for you to make decisions as it's related to your operating expenses, also known as your fixed expenses, which you should recall making decisions on as part of your break-even analysis assignment from last week. But as a reminder, a fixed expense, you can think of it as anything that doesn't change based on the production or sales volume of your product or service. So if you think about the cost of goods sold or unit cost that you calculated in the last part 1 of this stage, those are ones that were associated with producing your product or offering your service. Your fixed costs, on the other hand, are things that are costs that you will have no matter whether you produce one or offer one product or one of your services or don't offer anything. It's fixed costs that will continue on regardless. And so on this sheet, we've broken down different categories of these fixed costs into administrative, overhead, and then other. And then within it, there's some different examples of what would constitute a fixed cost. This is definitely not completely comprehensive, which is why we have these other categories down here. As you may realize, depending on the particular product or service that you offer, is that there may be other fixed expenses that your company will take on. If that is the case, which I expect it to be, what you would simply do is type in whatever those extra costs, fixed costs are, into these places right here. And then you would estimate per month how much you think that those costs would be. Again, all of the information and decisions that you make within this particular segment of the stage needs to be justified, based on research of, what are these costs, and research in terms of what type of costs would a company that is like yours or that is offering a product like yours would typically take on. And so what you'll do is first kind of go through this list and see whether any of these fixed costs are applicable to your particular company. And if they are, then you would want to estimate how much do you feel that they would be on a cost on a per monthly basis. You'll notice that the business license and the accounting and legal cost have already been factored in as $100 per month for you, for a total of $2,400 a year. So these are decisions that have already been made, so you don't need to adjust this. Again, for the purpose of simplifying this assignment, we've already factored in what the average cost of these two different things are. So it's something that you will need to have included into your company expenses. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to assume or make the assumption that my particular company only has two different types of fixed costs, expenses, in addition to the business license and the accounting and legal, and that is advertising. And just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to say that costs $100 a month. And then I'm also going to pretend that we have rent, and that is $1,000 per month. But again, for your company, you'll most likely, I would assume, have a lot more cost, most likely all of these costs, and then several other costs that you'll include in here. Once you've made those decisions, again, you'll want to refer to your assignment sheet and the information requested in the write-up, and write up basically your justification as to how you decided what type of costs and how much those costs were. Some couple points to mention on this particular part of the stage is a typical expense that you'll usually find as it relates to your fixed cost or your interest expense. So that would be something like if you had took out a loan for your company and you had to pay interest back on that. Although for the purpose of this assignment, we will not be including that in this part of the Excel file or the write-up, as it will be reflected later on in another portion of the stage. The same goes for your land, equipment, or any buildings that you potentially will be purchasing. Those will be reflected later on in another stage. Again, for the purpose of this assignment, typically something called depreciation expense. So if you have an equipment, the value of that company depreciates as you are using the equipment. It's not worth as much as when you initially purchased it because of the wear and tear, etc. But for the purpose of this assignment, we'll not worry about depreciation expense, even though that typically is considered a fixed cost. That is everything for this particular portion of stage 5, and we can look forward to moving on to the next portion, which is the cash flow, in the following video.